Welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 2, episode 22. In the previous segment, as you may remember, we completed the Luxury Sedan Cup, aka the Luxury 4-door Cup, as it is known in the Power version, and of course, I did that using this. My SHO Ford Taurus. Well, now of course, it's time for us to travel back in time. Pretty much all the way back to a sports car cup. And a sports car cup which is basically anywhere from 1980 to 89. We are travelling back to the 80s. Or, to anyone who is watching this beyond the 21st century, the 1980s. So we are going to East City, and I did have a look around to see what 80s sports cars were available to me, and eventually overall, I decided if I ever saw a first generation Mazda RX-7, then that would easily be the car that I would go for. Also, if nothing else was officially available to me with a reasonable amount of horsepower, and that's where this comes in. It is of course a Mazda RX-7 GT Turbo, and as for the type of model, it's dubbed as the SA. And of course, I thought to myself that essentially, if I ever did see this car, and obviously, if there was nothing else I could use, then this would be the car I would definitely pick. I just literally said to myself, yes, this is precisely the car I want to use. And now that I am, of course, in it, it is now time for us to head over to our first race of the 80s Sports Car Cup. So 5 races here, as we've got Trial Mountain, Special Stage Route 5, Deep Forest, Seattle City Course and Tahiti Road to close it off. So A license is first, then it's the IC license, and then we move on to the IB license. And now of course we are going to head over to race 1, because the max power cap is only 197 horsepower. Considering this is also the first time I'm notably doing a championship in this game that has 5 races. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I officially need to do any tuning until essentially after race 1, and so that is precisely why my RX-7 SA is stock. Because I don't think I'll really need anything in order to win at Tri Mountain. And we have another GT Turbo in this field. And it is in the colour, and that GT Turbo is in the colour that I was wanting my car to be in as well. But overall, I really don't think I could say anything about the colours I get. Even though we do have 2 RX-7 GT Turbos in red. And also, I don't think my tail lights and these AI are just pushing. But again, the reason why I didn't put on any upgrades is essentially because I felt as though I wasn't going to have too much trouble with this event, at least with the first race, as we are being led by a Turismo, and then behind me it is the 2 other GT turbos that at the present time are currently following what's the word I'm thinking of? Okay, never mind, it's the okay. And we went through wide on the exit of the hairpin, but somehow I was able to take the lead, as we are currently running 1-2 for Mazda. I, of course, am currently in the lead. And so we are not going 2 laps in these races, we are going 3 laps this time. And that is a wall. And my fellow RX-7 brethren is pretty much chewing up my ass. Although, fortunately for me at least, I am able to put myself in the position I want to be in to win this race. And now it looks like the Civic has officially taken over second. But again, the two GT turbos are fighting back, or at least one of them is anyway. Whilst I, of course, am still leading this, and now entering the 3rd and final lap here at Trial Mountain. We still have 1 circuit to go in order for us to be officially declared the winners of this event. And also, surprisingly, yes, I did actually buy this car before I officially decided I was going to use one of my current cars, mainly because, well, I actually have the money this time. Mainly because, well, this time I do actually have the money to afford one of these things, and, well, that's precisely what I did. It's also because, personally, there weren't any better choices for me to choose. Whilst of course I am very much listening to the hard rock 80's. In my RX-7 GT Turbo SA. Very much listening to hard rock, and I win race 1. Pretty much setting fastest lap after fastest lap in this race, and pretty much this entire field was comprised of Mazdas and Toyotas. That's all there was in this race. 3 RX-7 GT Turbos, 2 Toyota Corolla 11s, and 1 Toyota Starlet. That is unbelievable. But it is officially Mazda that locks out the podium. And from winning race 1 we get 7 grand. And a new car. And now of course it is time for me to do some tuning. Because I should probably do that before race 2. So 1 race down, 4 to go. So gonna head over to Mazda and also head to the tuning shop to officially get some parts installed on this thing. So just gonna purchase that, even though I probably don't need it now, so I'm not going to install it for now. And well, of course, I'm going to put on the Stage 1 turbo and also purchase myself the Stage 2 turbo, which is probably what I will need for the final 2 races, and I should also get myself this, the Racing Intercooler, and just gonna give myself a little bit more horsepower by putting on the computer chip, you know, just a little bit more horsepower, and yeah, I think that should do it, hopefully. Anyways, let's head to race 2. Since I did some very quick tuning there and I probably can't afford anything else. But anyway, let's head to race 2 in our only international C license race. Okay, I think the SA is a bit too loose, and so I think it's probably time for me to head back over to East City to maybe see if I can potentially give this car a bit less in terms of wheel spin, because I think this car is probably sliding too much. So gonna put on the sport tyres, because I don't think it's necessary for me to put on the racing slicks. Well, not in this scenario anyway. And I'm also going to put on a Stage 1 turbo. Sorry, Stage 1 weight reduction. So, let's now head back over to the race events. You've probably already seen the tuning I did to this thing before, but obviously, if I'm actually going to win it this time, I need to have control of the car, or stronger control than I did, anyways. This is now attempt number 3 at Special Stage Route 5, and hopefully if it's possible this time, I might be able to control the RX-7 GT Turbo this time. As you can see, I've got sport tyres on, racing performance chip, Stage 1 turbo kit, the racing intercooler, and exhaust is normal. So this is now attempt number 3, and if I do not win this one, then I'm seriously going to start slapping myself. Very well. Still getting the wheel spin that I usually get, as that is now a Toyota Starlet. We've also got a Celica in this event, along with another RX-7, and I think that is the illegal Celica. That Celica is illegal. I'm sure that other Celica I just saw there was from the 90s. I know that Celica is not the 80s. I'm fairly sure that Celica GT4 is not from the 80s. That Celica is from the 90s. At least the black one is anyway. Just I think, you know, the black one is anyway. But okay. So on my previous 2 attempts, well, my first attempt, because these AI had to be dirty as you, had to be fucking dirty as usual. I basically got tapped from behind, and then I ultimately finished in last on my first attempt. On my second attempt, I figured essentially, since I was probably needing to take a wider line, I could maybe avoid myself being tapped by these AI, and then suddenly I realised as a result of that, I eventually came in second to a Toyota Starlet. But hopefully this time, since I have a bit more control over this thing, hopefully I will be able to control this thing for the rest of the cup itself. Because this is now my 3rd attempt at this thing. Because, well, first attempt I finished in last, and on attempt number 2, I finished in second. And I think I've just figured out what gear I need. I need to officially keep my car in order to successfully avoid the wheel spin. And that gear, of course, is 3rd. It is probably the only way I can officially hope for, you know, success. If I am fortunate, of course. And hopefully this time I will be. Because I know for sure I need to be lucky if I'm going to win this. Hopefully this time I will be. That is a Corolla 11, by the way. Okay, I didn't spin through the tunnel this time, which is a bonus. Probably because I put on the sport tyres along with the stage 1 reduction to give myself a little bit more control of this thing, and I think that probably helps me. But I do emphasise the word probably. Because I don't want my summary to be incorrect. Yeah, there we go. That was a much better run through there. Through that hairpin. That was a much better run through there. Not gonna lie. That was actually a much better run through there. And I know it. And this time, I have actually managed to hold on to the lead. And hopefully, if it is possible on this occasion, 3rd time's the charm. That is it. Well, they're closing in, but it won't be enough. And there we go. 3rd time is indeed the charm time. Okay, so in this race we had obviously myself and another RX-7 GT Turbo. We also had a Nissan Micra Super Turbo, along with a Toyota Celica GT4, 81. Cheating bastard. A Toyota Corolla 11 was also in this race, along with a Toyota Celica. You know, I really love the facts that tell me that tell me pretty much all the Toyotas finished in the second part of the field. I actually like to see that. Well, I suppose that's essentially the slap in the face the FIA gave Toyota for probably bumping me on my first attempt. So yeah, I'm actually satisfied with that. But anyway, there we go. 2 races down, 3 to go. Hopefully if it's possible, we may have a stronger chance of potentially giving ourselves a more reasonable part of essentially giving ourselves the gold, or at least officially giving ourselves the W. Well, don't think I need to conduct any more tuning on this thing, so let's just head into race 3 at Deep Forest Raceway. We have a silver in this field. And that was a much better start this time. Probably because I started in second. There we go. I had a much better start this time because I was not spinning my wheels as much off the start this time, because I remembered to shift into second so I could officially avoid the wheel spin. And apparent as it might be, that turned out to be successful. As I currently lead the first lap. Here of course at Deep Forest. Even though notably overall, it took me 2 failed attempts to win at Route 5 and well, I think both of those attempts mainly came down to circumstances, but then as soon as I put on the weight reduction and the tyres, I think I had a bit more confidence in saying that it was actually physically possible for me to win it as soon as, you know, I did that. So everything is going well so far. I haven't officially caused the SA to spin yet. And to anyone asking about SA, that's essentially what this model of the RX-7 is called, the SA. Or if we're going to be specific about this model, it's the SA-122. Whilst I'm trying not to get distracted by my laptop. So this particular model is called the SA22C. At least, essentially overall, that is the name of this particular model. And I think I actually have a margin up front at the moment. I mean, I know it's very unusual for me to say that, but surprisingly, I do actually feel a bit more comfortable in this one than I did at Route 5, not gonna lie. Isn't like I'm actually managing to extend myself away from the AI at the moment, as I now head through the tunnel. And that is, of course, the sound of the Wankel rotary. Because this car's engine is a rotary engine. Coming on to the final start-finish straight, it is victory at Deep Forest on my first attempt. Okay, so in this field we had 2 Mazdas, 1 Nissan, and 3 Toyotas. Again, pretty much the same as we had Route 5, as we had a Silvia K's 1800C, it's 13, a Toyota Corolla Trueno, another GT Turbo, very much like mine, even though it wasn't red, an 83 Celica, and also a Celica GT4. And thankfully in this race, there was not the cheating GT4. A Gran for winning, and we also got a new car. Actually, no. I think I'll wait until I get on to page 2 to save a replay. Because I should probably do that. You know, just to be different. So, this is now the second half of the page, where we of course are now into the 394 races at both Seattle City Course and Tahiti Road. And also, as far as I know, I think this is... Well, anyways, let me start over. As far as I know, I think this is officially the first time I'm actually, you know, racing at the full Seattle course. Just going to max up the HP a bit. And yeah, I think that should do it. Yep. So anyways, let's head to race number 4 at the Seattle City Course, full, and not the Seattle Short Course. Which I am now driving a more powerful car this time, because I do need it. I am already up into second, and I narrowly avoid a touch there, because I almost thought for sure that micro was probably was probably going to touch me and then probably put me in the wall. I almost thought for sure he would have probably put me in the wall with what he was very close to doing, but fortunately at least there was enough of a distance between us. And so everything at the present time is fine. Until I spin, of course. Until I spin, of course. And most of the spins I've been making in this cup so far have not been through any fault of my own, as we said. And the MR2 has returned in this event, as he is currently leading this event, and I force him into the wall, because that is perfectly legal in this game. And he is still there, and everyone else has just caught up as we go through the very blind final chicane. Shifting myself up into third, just so I don't get a lot of wheel spin off the fucking exit of the hairpin. And I do manage to control it by very much just letting off the throttle. I'm so glad I did that weight reduction upgrade when I did, because if I didn't, then, well, I would probably be spinning a lot. I would probably, sorry, not spinning, sliding a lot more than I think I would be. And even though I'm still sliding a lot, I'm not necessarily sliding as much as I thought I would be doing, essentially. And I shifted down into second, which is something I probably shouldn't have done, but whatever. I'm still leading at the moment. I think, if it's possible, I may be able to win this. But I do empathise the word may. Because I know what this AI will do to you. If you make even the slightest of mistakes, they will make it costly if they are pretty much right on your ass. They will do it to you. They will fucking do it, you know. If you make even the slightest of mistakes. And fortunately for me at least, I have not made those sorts of mistakes in this race yet, as I am managing to keep the thing under control. Heading down into these chicanes, and surprisingly not sliding into the wall this time. And shifting up into up into fourth, because I do need to try and avoid the wheel spin. As we now head through the chicane, and I have won race number 4. Also, furthermore, my lap time on the final lap was a 1:42 dead. Literally just bang on a 1 minute 42. I was racing Toyotas throughout this event because we had a Toyota Corolla 11, a Toyota MR2 1600 G Limited, a Toyota Starlet Turbo S, a Toyota Corolla Turismo, so pretty much both of the 80s Corolla models were in this race, and we did have a tutor in this event, but thankfully at least he came last, even though I'm not sure where the cheating Celica finished afterwards, but anyway. I won that race by 1.7 seconds, and last place pretty much just under 4.6 seconds behind. So we did have a cheater in this event. And just because I want to, I shall save the replay. As this is now segment number 22, just saving my replay. And now we can officially move on to our fifth and final race of the 80s Sports Car Cup, and that is of course at Tahiti Road. And I would probably imagine, like Seattle, it could be a relatively easy W, but again I don't know for sure until I've officially done the race, but anyway. Let's get on with our fifth and final race of the 80s Sports Car Cup at Tahiti Road. As I of course am very much running in the 80s. Running in the 80s. Both of these cars, okay, correction. We have both models of the Corolla, both the 11 and the Trueno, or Trueno I think it's called. Anyway. I think I can see those panda-coloured Corollas behind me. As I, of course, am currently leading the thing. And I have a feeling my car is potentially OP for this, but whatever. Fortunately, for me at least, I did actually remember to buy a used car before entering these events, because then obviously there will not be any confusion like there was with the historic car cup, where I didn't officially purchase the Challenger until after I did the first race, you know, because power caps. And I'm already extending my interval. I think I may have made this a little bit too easy, but we'll just wait and see what the winning margin is, because anything could still happen at this point, especially if I know very well these AI want to get aggressive, and they will be aggressive. I know that from personal experience. onto my third and final lap of this race, and I already slammed the wall. Go me. And my throat is drying up as well. But anyways, through sector 2 I go. And I, of course, am going very well at the moment, because I don't think the interval between me and the AI is actually shrinking. It's quite the opposite, actually, in my honest opinion. But anyway, on to the final straightaway, and I have absolutely annihilated the field in this race. I wonder what exactly my winning margin is, because it's got to be somewhere. Holy shit. I won this event by 7.5 seconds over the Corolla, Turismo and the 11. That is insane. And you know, I really do love it on how the cheaters in these events. I really do love it on how the cheaters in these events have finished in the bottom half of the field. They haven't finished near the top. And we also had a Super Twin Turbo in this event, along with a Celica GT4. I would imagine those two are probably brethrens from the 90s. We also had an 84 Skyline, but anyways. 10 grand for winning. And since this is the final race of the 80's Car Cup, I am officially going to save the game. So, the 80's Car Cup is now complete. And just for confirmation, yep, I do have a replay saved. Good. Now we can move on. So, there we go. The 80's Sports Car Cup is now complete. Next up is the pure Sports Car Cup, where we will truly... Oh, wait a minute. Be running in the 90s. So, let's head down here. And there, of course, is my RX-7. And so this is the prize car we win from race 1. A Mugen Civic Ferio. Very nice. A Mugen CRX-3. Do I have 2 of these? I'm sure I do. I'm sure this isn't the first one. I need to check. And yes, I do. Okay, well, the other one is basically a doppelganger, so I'm just going to sell that one because I don't need it. Also, because essentially, I should probably mention with certain events in this game, you can also essentially sell prize cars that you've already won, because with certain events you can win a certain prize car more than once. And this is the other car we win, a Mugen Civic Type R. Very nice. And we also get a Mugen Integra Type R in red, which is, well, I would say on par with the Civic, but I'm not sure about the runs though. I mean, bodywork is good, paint is good, but as for the rims themselves, I don't know. And we also get the Skyline R30 Silhouette Formula from this event. Still, I really love this thing, honestly. For something that you literally have to ask for from the 80s, this probably is about as 80s as you can get. Because I really do love that narrowed rear wing and that very wide front bumper. I really do love this thing, honestly, let me tell you. This thing is quite astonishing to look at, especially considering how wide it is. But anyways, so only really one track I had trouble with in the end, but at the very least we are now up to 21.91% complete with this game. So that, my friends, was the 80s Sports Car Cup. Next up is the Pure Sports Car Cup. And with that, stay tuned for more GT2.